What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be talking about the prelim fight ahead of UFC 250 between Ian Heinisch and Gerald Meerschaert. But before we get into this analysis, I just want to let you guys know that I've covered the early prelims, the other prelim fights that have come before this fight, and I'm also going to be covering the main card, and those videos should come out tomorrow. So if you're interested in checking those fight predictions as well, make sure to subscribe to the channel to see those videos. But listen, enough of that. We want to get into this fight. This is personally one of my favorites between Ian Heinisch and Gerald Meerschaert. I think this fight will definitely be a great one. How are we looking in terms of the odds? The favorite is actually Ian Heinisch, sitting at -125, and Meerschaert is actually the underdog at +100. So before I get into Ian Heinisch, this is the fighter that I want to talk about first. I really like this fighter also because of his background story. I recommend you guys to look up a bit about his background on Wikipedia. It's a really inspiring come up of how he got into the UFC. You know, he had some problems growing up, but at the same time, you know, it's truly interesting to see his journey to coming into the UFC. So I definitely suggest you guys check it out. But yeah, Ian Heinisch, he's got a record of 13 wins and 3 losses, definitely respectable. And his winnings are also very diversified. He's got 4 coming from TKO knockout, 2 from submission, and then 7 from unanimous decision. But at the same time, he's actually coming into UFC 250 with 2 losses as well. We've seen this from many other fighters ahead of UFC 250, and he's just another one of them. He lost against Derek Brunson and Omari Akhmedov, both via unanimous decision. Now, coming into this fight, I don't think Heinisch has a really easy matchup because we're talking about Gerald Meerschaert. He's a veteran of the sport. He's also cornered many fighters as their coach, both in Bellator and the UFC. He's got lots of experience. He's got 31 wins under his belt, specifically 12 losses, and 23 of those wins have come from a submission. So that's just a venomous statistic right there. Of course, Meerschaert is renowned for his black belt in jiu-jitsu as well as kickboxing, and he's been in the game since 2007. And on the other hand, a guy like Ian Heinisch, his first fight was around 2015. So again, like, we're talking big differences in experience here. So what about Meerschaert? How is he coming into this UFC 250? He's actually coming in from a win against Darren Wynn. A really interesting statistic of this fight was that Meerschaert was actually the underdog for that fight as well. But at the same time, Meerschaert was able to get that submission late in the 3rd round to grant himself the victory. So again, this is sort of something that I thought about when I'm seeing that he's also the underdog for this fight. I'm like, yeah, he's the underdog for this fight, but you know, if he gets you in a submission, like, that could potentially make the fight. So that's how I think the fight is going to go. That's how I think Meerschaert is most dangerous in that ground game, in that grappling game, in that wrestling, holding game. And so that's how I think the fight is going to end personally. I think it's going to end via submission in the favor of Meerschaert. Because again, as soon as you let that guy take ownership, potentially mount you or get you on your back, you know, it's going to be a tough 5 minutes or whatever it is. However, if you have Ian Heinisch, who was actually a former wrestler, you know, if he's able to prevent those mounts, if he's able to protect himself greatly, and if he's able to potentially lock him down with some hooks or anything, you know, that's his fight. If I was Ian Heinisch going into this fight, I'm going to try to keep it on the feet as much as possible, because I know a fighter as experienced as Gerald Meerschaert, he's going to try to get it on the ground right away and start playing around in that way. I think a guy like Heinisch, we've seen his ability to get those wins via knockout. 4 of those 13 have come from knockout. So if he keeps it on the feet, I think that's where he raises his chance of taking it home here. And at the same time, another thing that Ian Heinisch needs to capitalize on is the whole gas tank concept, because here we have the Gerald Meerschaert. He's only ended fights via unanimous decision 5 out of 43 times. So of 43 fights he's had, only 5 have ended via unanimous decision. So he's either lost before it or he's either won before it. So I think as a fighter, Ian needs to try to stretch it out as much as possible, test the gas tank. And I really feel like the longer the fight goes, the higher the chance Heinisch has to win. But again, that's just my prediction. Regardless, I think that Meerschaert is going to nail it via a submission. His experience is just, I think it's too much of a higher level. Again, been in the game since 2007, recently won via submission. He was the underdog, yet he came out on top. We have the same scenario here. I just think too many things are connecting. I don't know. I'm just getting these little signs, but that's just my opinion. But I'm also interested to know what you guys think. How do you guys think this fight is going to end? I want to get a little discussion going. I'm interested to see different points of views. Yeah, and if you like this video, subscribe to the channel. We got more coming. And if you do subscribe and I see you guys in the next one, then I'll see you guys in the next one.